8 million of Papa Nurgle's men stand before the Great Tomb Pyramids. The pyramids have recently been inhabited by the Space Marines, and we're not just talking about one Space Marine Legion, we're talking about all of the different Space Marine Legions defending the pyramids together. They have Ultramarines, they have Blood Angels, they have Soul Drinkers, Salamanders, they have tanks, and even some of the Death Corps of Krieg are outside with their shovels, ready to swarm and charge like ants on an anthill against the enemy. This will be a brutal battle, with 8 million Nurgle charging a mere 414,000 of the Imperium, and 400,000 of the 414,000 are the Death Corps soldiers. So it's about to get real. If you guys enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below. Now let's get into some gruesomeness here. What's up, gamers? I'm here to tell you about Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is an amazing place where you can get some fire deals on all sorts of video games. Seriously, it's like 60 to 95% off, as you can see here. These are all of the Star Wars titles they have. They literally have every Star Wars title. You can also get XCOM here, Men of War Assault Squad 2. All of the games I play on the channel you can buy here for extremely cheap prices. If you use my affiliate link in the description, it helps me out a ton. So thank you guys for listening to this sponsorship, and thank you to Instant Gaming for continuing to sponsor the channel. Alright boys, let's go ahead and press start right here and see if the Ultramarines, Space Marines, and all the rest of those folk can defend against Nurgle's hordes of zombies and plagued creatures. It should be an incredible battle here. And first up, we have some of these just decaying soldiers right here. They're covered in warts and boils, and they are getting hit extremely hard from the flak of the Ultramarine guns right there, which are just incredibly devastating. Not to mention, we have some of the Iron Hand here out front. I have to appreciate Jeff the Jedi Knight for explaining to me in the last video that this is the Iron Hand, and the Yellow Boys, who are all the way back here, who are about to encounter some Nurgle warriors, are the Iron Fist, I believe, right? Let me check my notes here. Imperial Fist. These are the Imperial Fist. I get those two confused all the time, and hopefully I remember from here on out. Yellow, Imperial Fist, black, Iron Hand. Alright. Makes sense to me now, a little bit. Hopefully, I can remember that. But either way, these guys are getting absolutely swarmed here, and they are basically covering the city from this entranceway here. And they do have the Nile River up this way, which currently is kind of dry. So that's not very cash money, but it is what it is. Oh, we've also got some Nurgle bats coming in over this way and taking from the skies into the Yellow Boys. And inside of the city, we have the Legion of the Damned right here. They're not getting into any combat just yet. And then, of course, we have the Death Corps of Krieg over this way. And these guys are countercharging a number of warriors. Now, the Death Corps are willing to pretty much throw their bodies against the masses of enemies in any battle ever, I've learned. I have been researching a lot of Warhammer lore, and the Death Corps are freaking insane. Apparently they always wear those gas masks because it had something to do with like their planet becoming like so toxic that they couldn't breathe or something like that anymore, and then they somehow adapted into needing the masks or something. I don't know. The lore video was very dense, but it had a lot of lore in it. Either way, all I know is they went against the Empire, I believe, at one point, and now they serve purely to redeem themselves, and so they are willing, and all of their offspring are willing to just yeet themselves into the enemy. It's amazing. It's incredible. And apparently, in terms of both the Imperial Guard here, or sorry, in terms of the Death Corps as well as the Guardsmen, The standard, like, amount of time you can expect, the life expectancy of them on the battlefield is something like 5 minutes. So, like, in 5 minutes, you'll just die, more than likely, on the battlefield, which is absolutely insane. Down here at the base of the pyramid, by the way, we do have some of the space wolves firing away as the enemy comes down from atop the hillside towards them. This is just a whole lot of enemies cascading on down. I think eventually they will make contact with them, and it seems to be happening a little bit over this way. Then, on the opposite side of things, we do have the Blood Angels, which are extremely good units on the battlefield. So, it's going to be real tough for Nurgle's men to get through here. Nurgle is just my favorite god, I think, in all of Warhammer. But I've started to get a new appreciation for the orcs. Learning orc lore is absolutely insane. Apparently they are like, well, they might as well be the most powerful faction in Warhammer from what I understand, except for the fact that they're stupid. If they weren't stupid, they would be literal gods, because anything they can imagine is true. It becomes reality. So if an orc ends up believing that, hey, you know, a space marine is dead, that space marine will die. That is insane power levels. Like, what? And like, apparently, the reason the Ultramarines are so good is because the orcs believe that blue is a lucky color. And so, therefore, the Ultramarines become lucky. Or they paint their vehicles red because they genuinely believe red vehicles go faster, and lo and behold, those vehicles go faster because they believe it. It's absolutely insane. Like, that lore is insane, dude. Either way, the Imperial Fist over here is getting trampled. They've got a small holdout over this way, but they really actually didn't do that well. Usually these guys are insane on the battlefield and can last a very long time. That's not the case here, and so now the Legion of the Damned in the city having to pick up some of the slack here that the Imperial Fist left behind. And these guys are, of course, shock troopers, so they're able to do some serious damage to the enemy in very nice groupings. However, they are still taking a few losses here. The enemy is just getting really close to them, beating them up a good amount, but I think they are good for at least 500,000 kills, hopefully, something along those lines. We are already at 6.7 million Nurgle soldiers left alive, which means 1.3 million total have died. However, there's only 17,688 Space Marines left alive. I think all of the Death Corps is dead. Yes, sir. The Dead Corps, if you will. Unless there's some here. No, these are Nurgle warriors actually flanking around the back to the Soul Drinkers over this way. Very nice. And over this way, we do have the Salamanders grouped up with some of the Walker tanks over this way. I think it would be very cool to give the Salamanders the flame ability, because apparently Salamanders are very known for using flamethrowers on battlefields, and I just think that's really cool. So maybe in the future, we ought to go ahead and do that. But for now, they do just have standard guns here in the Warhammer universe. Oh, some of the big boys are starting to come through over here against the Blood Angels. These guys are powerful. How much health do they have? 35,000 health. I mean, still, the Blood Angels are dealing with them extremely easily, but I think as the body piles begin to grow over here, the Blood Angels won't be able to shoot them as directly, and will start to get toppled by these boys. I think that will probably happen. Yeah, more than likely, either way, we are probably doing a double upload today. There's a brand new Star Wars mod for Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 that I just recorded, and I want to get that out early since it's brand new, and I want to be one of the first to cover it if possible. But at the same time, I've had this video planned all week, and I'm really excited to do it because I love massive Warhammer defenses. It's just so fun. So I figured, yeah, we got to do this. We just have to. And you know, Warhammer units are so powerful that typically we do have to do defenses with them, because Warhammer on offense, well, in particular Space Marines, I don't know as much about how the orcs would do against other factions and stuff like that, but like, say for example we had Space Marines attacking the United States Army, they would just plow through them in a matter of minutes. but I was thinking maybe I would make like a massive, like 10 million strong defense of like medieval knights or something like that for the Space Marines to attack with only like 50,000 Space Marines, something along those lines, and just see how they do. Because at the end of the day, we do most of the time do defenses with the Space Marines because, again, they are so powerful that typically them attacking is just such a lethal threat. But it could be fun to reverse things every once in a while and just see what happens. Either way, everyone's sort of holding up here. Space Wolves over here still having to deal with just a massive surge of enemies coming down at them. Down middle is doing super well, and I think a big reason for that is this rock formation here kind of blocks the enemy from full-on just charging straight at them. They have to trickle in a little bit more, have more spacing between their units due to that blocking their path. So that's definitely a little bit of a problem. Blood Angels over here absolutely beasting against these beasts. So that's pretty interesting to see. And there are just fields and fields of them. But there will be more units coming forward that we haven't really seen yet, especially like way back here. Yeah, there should be different variants to the warriors, some gladiators and stuff like that. There's much to come. It will get absolutely insane, absurd, and it's crazy because we are seeing random shots actually hitting back here every once in a while. So technically, some of these units are probably dying all the way back here. And at the very end of the battle, we'll probably see a large quantity of bodies back there because of stray shots just hitting them randomly, which will be kind of crazy to see. I'm very excited about that. Either way, for now, the front defense is doing fantastic. Those body walls are mounting like crazy. Soul Drinkers back here, I think, are in like slight danger. They'll probably start getting eaten away at by some of these Nurgle soldiers, and we'll see if any dead Space Marines decide to embrace Nurgle these days, you know, see if they decide to turn to Papa Nurgle and get that sweet relief. But the Legion of the Damned back here, they are definitely going to go down. At the very least, they're putting up a very good fight, but they're in just a very weak position here, I think, without the support of the Death Corps or the Imperial Fist over that way. So let's watch these guys. I think they're going to be the next to die, essentially, on the battlefield. We're at 16,825 remaining Space Marine units and 5.9 million remaining Nurgle. Alright, progress has been slow for the Nurgle, actually. I kind of thought the army would make a lot speedier of progress through the Legion of the Damned over here, but they really haven't. Maybe it's the terrain, maybe they're just finally getting a grip and becoming better fighters in this battle. I'm not entirely sure, but they have deleted, let's say, a number of these Legion of the Damned, and it looks like over here also the Soul Drinkers have taken some losses, but now body piles are beginning to mount just outside of the Pyramid Fortress over here. We do have 15,400 remaining Space Marines, so I believe just about 2,000 have died during that time lapse, which is a fairly staggering amount, actually, you know, given the defenses that we're working with here. But at the same time, there's only 4.5 million Nurgle soldiers left alive, meaning the Nurgle have lost a significant number of their troopers. They're almost halfway through this battle, actually, in terms of their remaining troopers. Over here, we've got a large charge, though, against the Space Wolves. This could potentially do some damage to them. Yeah, look at this. Holy cow. A ton of these creatures just yeeting down this hillside and starting to give them what for. Very nice. I do love the Space Wolves. Their armor is so fire, baby. And look at this. They are getting close quarters. A few of them getting knocked around. I think the big, like, unicorn dudes with the horns. Oh, I guess they have two horns, so it's not quite a unicorn. But the horned boys, the big green blobs, I think they do have knockback to them, so they can kind of disrupt the lines a little bit better. when they do hit people and send them flying a little bit. But then again, this Space Wolf isn't flying. Oh, there he goes. Okay, so yeah, I think they are the ones that do have knockback, so they could definitely do some serious damage against these defenders over here. Meanwhile, the Ultramarines still spamming fire along with the tanks, and that explosive fire is resulting in the great body wall over this way that surrounds this part of the pyramid. Absolutely insane. I think once the Legion of the Damned is down, the full charge down against the Soul Drinkers will force these guys, the tanks and the salamanders and stuff like that, to focus fire back this way a little bit more, and it might give more opportunity for the front lines to be pushed. Either way, the Space Wolf lines are definitely thinning a good bit more, so let's watch them fight. Numbers again up at the top right, 15,100 remaining Space Marines now, and 4.2 million remaining Nurgle soldiers. Let's get it, baby. Okay, Space Wolves continuing to take losses here. They do have a number of soldiers in the corner over this way that are still doing okay, but these dudes over this way, not doing some good stuff. Currently, a few of them are getting pushed onto the pyramid, so I wonder how that'll work. They might just get free kills up there, I'm not entirely sure, but the Nurgle Army is sweeping through those guys. Same cannot be said for the Blood Angels over here. Yes, they have taken some losses, but the Blood Angels are so good at what they do, man. The fact that they're still kicking is incredible. Some of these boys over here, yeah, the Iron Hand is taking a few L's, but nothing too crazy. How are the Soul Drinkers doing? Okay, I'm still seeing zaps from the Legion of the Damned. Yes, they do still have holdouts, especially in the inner city here. They're still managing to fight back the Nurgle monsters pretty nicely, which will distract even more for the Soul Drinkers, which is really good for them. And they don't seem to be taking like too many losses, and it does look like a lot of the salamanders and some of the tanks are starting to fire this way as well to help out the Soul Drinkers. I think really Nurgle needs to focus up and take out the remainder of the Legion of the Damned over this way. If they do that, then they will be Gucci. If they do not do that, they will not be so Gucci. So there's a huge number of Legion of the Damned all crushed together right here from being pushed back by the Nurgle soldiers. So why don't we watch these guys do a last stand inside the city walls here. 13,000 remaining Space Marines, 3.31 million Nurgle. Slowly but surely, these guys are getting crushed, so I think the Legion of the Damned will go down eventually here. There's still 3 million Nurgle, we just hit that mark, so as long as they kill these Legion of the Damned in a fairly timely manner, I think we'll see a lot more troopers going to the Soul Drinkers, and it looks like actually that's already happening, with many more starting to charge the Soul Drinkers down here as less and less Legion of the Damned seem to distract them up that way. Alright, what happened with the Space Wolves? Looks like there is still a holdout in the corner here, which is pretty effective, it seems, and many more are distracted. They're body bridging up to some of these Space Wolves over this way, so that's kind of interesting to see. They're kind of flicking around and doing crazy stuff over there. More are starting to hit some of the Iron Hand over this way, and there are some Ultramarines poking out over here too, which we used to think the Ultramarines were all powerful, but in recent videos they have been getting wiped. So that will be tricky. The Blood Angels do seem to be the best unit nowadays when it comes to the Space Marines in the Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2 Warhammer 40k mod. That is a mouthful right there. But these Blood Angels are still doing the Emperor's work. They're just going absolutely nuts here, killing everyone. It's crazy. I think the interior of the pyramid right now is looking very nice and not very vulnerable at the moment. It is looking very strong with 2.87 million remaining Nurgle. I don't think the Nurgle are going to be able to do this. If they don't even come close, we will certainly run it back and lessen the number of Space Marines. But I did boost the Space Marine numbers this time by popular request, because the last few times they got absolutely crushed. And so this time around we did nerf their numbers, and they seem to be doing quite well with this amount of troopers right now. So yeah, interesting. Let's go ahead and watch the Space Wolves fight a little bit more, because I think they are probably the ones that will go down fairly soon. It's either that or Legion of the Damned at this point. Space Wolves are almost completely dead now. They're just chilling on the side of the pyramid here a little bit. And the rest of the Nurgle army descends upon the Iron Hand and the Ultramarines, who are actually taking some losses here. We have 11,500 Space Marines remaining, so they still have an exceptionally powerful force. But some of the Blood Angels over here are actually taking losses too. Yeah, things are heating up. How are... Okay, Legion of the Damned are completely done. They are all dead. So now the Soul Drinkers have to deal with Nurgle soldiers directly attacking them. And they're carving small paths in, so they are doing some damage there as well. 2.1 million remaining Nurgle. This is coming down to the wire here, although we do still have a very solid interior defense. But the exterior is going down expeditiously. Let's watch the Blood Angels here, because they are actually starting to die. Okay, Blood Angels got show-wasted. There's a few of them, again, still alive, just like the Space Wolves over here on the edges. And look at this body pile around the Ultramarines and the Iron Hand. It's crazy. Over this way, Soul Drinkers are holding their gates very, very nicely. But this battle is getting closer and closer. 9,500 Space Marines still remain. Meanwhile, 1.65 million Nurgle remain. Again, if you guys haven't seen many of my videos, for some reason, it's supposed to be translucent recording software hangs up at the top right, and I can't figure out how to change it to not the top right, and that's where the numbers are. So it's like semi-translucent, but I can't quite read the numbers, so it's very frustrating. But these guys are getting surrounded, and at the very least, they still have million and some change Nurgle to go through, and it's getting rougher and rougher for them. Now it's truly just the interior defenders. Let's watch. We have passed 1 million remaining Nurgle. So we have only 950,000 remaining. They're continuing to get kills, but at a much slower rate now. 9,200 kills for these boys. So I think, obviously, the interior defenses here are just going absolutely crazy nuts, and they're managing to hold out really, really nicely. So that is the main problem going on here. I think the Nurgle probably don't have this at this point in time, but you know what? You gotta hold out hope, baby. You gotta hold out hope. Let's go for the overhead time lapse, and we'll just see. We'll just see. Maybe the Space Marines falter. I don't think they do. Actually, I think it would be much more fun to do a little bit closer of a time lapse, because then we get to see the individual units. The overhead here, especially with no one really being lost, I don't think, like, no one's really dying for the Space Marines. A few every couple seconds, but like not a crazy amount. So I think it would be cooler to watch from down here. So let's do it. More Space Marines have gone down, but it's mainly just the troopers immediately outside the front gate here, as well as some Soul Drinkers over here have additionally died, but hasn't been crazy. There's also way less troopers coming in towards the Soul Drinkers over this way. It's more of a trickle now over here versus the front door, where it's still all-out pandemonium going on right now. 8,700 Space Marines remaining, 300,000 remaining Nurgle. Well, guys, there's only 25,000 Nurgle left. They're all running in. 8,722 Space Marines left, and of course, we gotta nuke the Nurg. Heck yeah, heck yeah! Give them the boom boom clap. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's run it back, but take away the outer defenses for the Space Marines and just see how the interior does against 8 million Nurgle. Alright, boys, 9,668 Space Marines, just the Soul Drinkers, the Salamanders, the tanks, and the Ultramarines here today against 8 million of the Nurgle soldiers. So we're bringing it back to the beginning without all that extra fluff in there to see if the 8 million Nurgle soldiers can secure a W. Now, of course, the first outcome is what happened during this video. Obviously, the first one is a Space Marine victory, and therefore this video is a Space Marine victory. However, this one is just for fun, because it is kind of entertaining to do these little for fun videos after the fact, just as like what if would happen if we changed just a few things about the battle. I think it's a good way to do it. Either way, let's go ahead and time-lapse the Soul Drinkers over here first, because we saw a lot of the Ultramarines last time. Alright, well, so far the Space Marines are holding really, really well. They're doing fantastic. A number of them have died, but they've killed 6.2 million Nurgle, which is obviously very, very impressive. So we'll just let her continue to go here. Dang, boys, it's been 30 minutes. Look how tall the body pile is here. Meanwhile, over this way, there's barely any bodies. That is crazy right there. Holy smokes. How are the... Oh, these guys are doing amazing as well. Yeah, I think this is a clear-cut Space Marine victory in part 2 here. 3.45 million Nurgle remaining, so let's continue to let her go. Okay, another 20 minutes have passed, and we are now at, looks like 2.46 million Nurgle left alive, and 9,149 Space Marines. Okay. This is just a grind fest at this point. I think the Space Marines clearly have this in the bag. So we'll just go ahead and let it play out because I'm running out of time-lapse space on my computer. And look at all these Nurgles still alive. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and let this play out. And we'll be back in literally 1 second. Alright boys, we got 58,000 Nurgle left alive. And as you can see, the pyramid is absolutely crazy. We've got 8,187 Space Marines left alive. So you know what we do here. We nuke the battlefield for the Imperium, for the Emperor. Yes, sir. Absolutely gorgeous. My goodness. A lot of dead Nurgle across this battlefield, but we are back to a dominant victory from the Space Marines. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.